Today I want to talk about what it's like after a year of using my CampSnap camera. How often I use it, what I use it for, and some fun little tricks and stuff like that that I've learned to get some good quality, fun shots out of it. So I got mine about September of last year. We're sitting at about mid-July this year. For the last year, I've used it on random different occasions that make sense for a camera like this. And some occasions where I'm just trying to be tricky and see what I can do with it, even though I have a far better camera in my phone in my pocket, as well as other cameras, the camera I'm shooting this on. But there's something to be said about the CampSnap camera. It is a screenless digital camera that acts like a old time point and shoot disposable film camera. And the footage comes out pretty similar to what you would get out of one of those film cameras, with a little bit of an upgrade or downgrade depending on how you like to shoot, and what you think of digital versus film. But I think it looks very comparable and similar to some old film cameras. Now, one thing to note with the CampSnap camera is that it takes footage with a fixed focus, which is infinite focus, but it's infinite focus past like 3 or 4 feet, it seems like. And then, so like you could take a selfie with it and have it turn out okay if you hold it out quite a ways, full length arm, and go ahead and snap your selfie. And that can turn out pretty decent. And I've done a few of those fun shots. My son's done some. They turn out okay. What this thing shines at is just having something that's not distracting. You can carry it around like I did through our 4th of July celebration here in town and snap some fun photos. And the fun about not having the screen on it is it's like the old days where you have to go and develop the film to see what you got. But instead, you just kind of have to go and plug it into your cell phone or plug it into your PC and see what you got. I have used it on my Android phone, as well as my daughter took it to her prom and used it to transfer to her iPhone. Operates pretty similar either way, so that's kind of nice with it. In playing with mine, I figured out kind of like its limit for how long of a shutter it will do. It will do 1/13. That basically means that the speed of which the shutter opens and closes is 1/13 of a second. That's kind of slow, but not super slow. So what I was able to do is find out that by like covering it up, taking a few shots, then you look at your data on it and it could tell you what the shutter speed is sitting at. So 1/13 seems to be the slowest shutter it will take. Takes really fast if you're firing in a bright environment. I don't have offhand what the fastest is that I've come up with, but it takes pretty fast. And you can look at my last video that I did on it, which was back when I first got it. But you can check out that video there if you want to see some of the results I got back then. What I bring up the shutter speed situation is because if you check out these shots, I was able to kind of do long exposure photography on a waterfall by using an ND filter that's for a camera like a mirrorless or DSLR camera, and just holding the ND filter over my lens and then shooting some shots of waterfalls that way to get longer exposure. Obviously, it's not ideally long exposure because I would want a second or longer for upwards of like 5 seconds for a good silky smooth waterfall photo, but it gives it a better look than a full exposure, which you'll see right here. So like a full exposure with no ND with a high shutter speed. It's cool that you can kind of get close with something so simple and silly like this. I say silly because it is silly. It's nostalgic for people that used to shoot with those cameras. But my daughter's young and has never really shot with disposable cameras and really enjoyed taking it to her prom and snapping photos of her friends. She had a blast with it. She was super excited to share them with her friends when she got back from prom. So for events like that, like a prom or a wedding, like I said this in my last video, but if they had these when I had my last wedding, I would have given them to like all the groomsmen and bridesmaids and said, take all the photos you can with it, or maybe put one at each table and say, take all the photos you can, and all we ask is that you share the photos back, and then it's a gift for wedding party people. Another fun thing you can do with them to try to make your shots more photography centric is, well, of course, like play with your framing and all that fun stuff. Being that it is the style of viewfinder that it is, this that I'm going to talk about is a little bit difficult, but what you can do is create a blurred foreground element to create depth in your shot by getting real close to an object and kind of cocking it to a side or a bottom corner or a top corner or however you want to do it, but getting closer to a foreground element, because you're not going to get blurry background out of this since it is an infinity focus camera, but you can get blurred foreground elements, which will give you that look that you're looking for when you're trying to create depth in an image. And like I said, just play with the photography of framing and creating depth how you can in your images, because you can't play with all the manual settings like you can in a mirrorless or DSLR camera or even a smartphone. Sometimes people play with their manual settings, but use this for a less distracting, fun way to take photos that will have a really cool look about them. CampSnap has a ton of fun little designs and stuff like that that you can get for your cameras. They even have an underwater cage for them that I'm going to get and do a review on when I can get it, but they're sold out on them as I'm making this video. As soon as I have one, I will do some underwater photos and post them and make another video on it. But if you guys want to snag a CampSnap, I recommend using my link. You will get a discount. It will be down in the description. Definitely pick one up, play with it. I guarantee you're going to have more fun with this than you have with like a more expensive camera that you buy. It's weird how much fun you have with this thing. Like it weird. Like I said, it's almost been a year and I'm still using it all the time, grabbing it when I go, just sticking it in the car so that I have it. If I'm getting out in an event and I don't want to be distracted with my phone or playing around with the manual settings on my mirrorless camera, I have this guy handy to just capture some moments. And then when I'm done, I can plug it into my phone and transfer everything and go ahead and make my post to Facebook or Instagram or wherever you post your photos. Any other things you need to learn about the camera, I covered a lot of it in my previous video when I did my unboxing, and you definitely can go back and check that out. I'll link it here in just a second at the end, as well as earlier is on the card above. But like I said, like just so fun, less distracting than a camera with a screen on it. And you get to do the old-timey take a photo. And I talked about this in the previous video, but it does make a sound. And I don't like it because it's like cheesy sounding. It definitely sounds like a digital camera snap sound. But when you first get it, you can shut it off through your settings on the bottom. And if you're thinking about picking one up, let me know. If you already have one, I'd like to hear about that too and your experiences with it. And I hope if you did enjoy what you saw here, you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more budget videography and photography tips, tricks, and all that other fun stuff that we do here. And I will see you guys next time. Go check out the previous video or whatever YouTube recommends to you right there. And have fun shooting with whatever camera you use, whether it's super high end or just fun and inexpensive like this guy. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out. Later.